So this week, on the FPL Skills YouTube channel, third bench, and he got 10 points. I was fuming. Ings, Ferran Torres, Ings, Ferran Torres. But as it stands, I am relatively happy with it. I am not doing a watch list, and I'm not doing a team selection. I am doing a preview because I don't really have time to film 2 videos. And also, filming a watch list video alone is quite hard because there's not too many players to choose from. So, this week, I'm doing a preview video, and I'm combining the watch list and the team selection, putting them together, and you got this. And if you were a subscriber from the early days, well, not the too early days, but the early days, up until around near the end of last season, I was doing previews for a while. But then I stopped and I thought it'd be better doing watch list and team section, and it still is. But if the previews do well this week, you never know. I might do it next week. But anyway, enough of the waffling, let's get on with the video. So the first player on the list that I think is a good option, well, sort of a good option for this week, but a good option for the next several game weeks, is Kai Havertz. So Kai Havertz, and I've got 2 other Chelsea players I'm going to talk about in a minute, are very, very, very good options for the next several game weeks after this one. So this week they play Man City, which is obviously a really tough game. Man City aren't in the best place, but they are going to put up a fight against Chelsea. So he's not really the best option for this week, but you probably should bring him in this week, or bring him in next week on a wild card or something, whatever, or bring him in next week as a normal transfer, because their next 5 fixtures after that are absolutely amazing. Listen to this. Chelsea have got Southampton at home, Brentford away, Norwich at home, Newcastle away, Burnley at home. Did you hear those fixtures? They are absolutely outstanding. A team of Chelsea's quality who keep a load of clean sheets and score a lot of goals, playing in those set of teams right there, that is absolutely brilliant. And Kai Havertz hasn't had the best start to the season. I think he's only got maybe 1 or 2 goals already this season, and I don't know how many assists, but he hasn't got a lot of attacking returns. But he regularly starts for Chelsea up top alongside Lukaku, Mount. He gets balls supplied from Kovacic, Reece James when he plays, etc, etc. So he is getting the supply he needs. He probably will find his form soon. And at £8.3 million, he's cheap as chips. Well, not cheap as chips, but for a quality player he is, he's quite cheap. And he's only owned by 4.9% of the game. So he's a super differential. And if he does really well from game week 7 to game week 11, you could have a real player on your hands there. And he could get you a lot of points for your FPL team. And the next player on the list is Kai Havertz's teammate, Antonio Rudiger. So out of all the Chelsea defenders, I'm including the fullbacks in this as well, I think Rudiger is the best option because he's the most known on. You know Thomas Tuchel, well, you might not know him, but he likes to rotate his team around a lot, and the defence gets changed a lot. You have different fullbacks playing, maybe Reece James one week, Azpilicueta the other week, Thiago Silva doesn't always play, but it always seems to be that Rudiger plays in that defence because he's such a pivotal player for them. So I think he will start the next several games, and you want him to start the next several games with these fixtures, like I've said already, Southampton, Brentford, Norwich, Newcastle, Burnley. That could be 5 clean sheets right there for Chelsea. Their defence is that solid, and those teams do not score too many goals. So you might as well bring Rudiger into your team. It's a very good option. And he's only owned by 10.4% of the game, so he's a lot lower owned than the likes of Ruben Diaz or any of the other defenders who play in good teams and keep a lot of clean sheets, which is really good right there as well. And another thing about Rudiger is he scored a goal the other week. He may score another in the next 5 games. Who knows? He's not known for scoring goals, but you never know. He might pop up with 1 or 2. 2's a push, but you never know. He might pop up with 1 at least. And the next player on the list is Antonio Rudiger's fellow teammate, the big Belgium striker, Romelu Lukaku. So Romelu Lukaku kind of looks like a must-have for the next several game weeks. He's going to be licking his lips. You, as an FPL manager, will probably be licking your lips as well when you see Chelsea's new fixtures. New fixtures, next set of fixtures. And like I've said, I've already read them out. Southampton, Brentford, Norwich, Newcastle, Burnley. Don't tell me that's not a beautiful set of fixtures for Romelu Lukaku to score goals in. And yes, he might not score a goal at all, but on paper, it looks really good for Lukaku, and he's playing alongside the likes of Mount, Havertz, all these top quality players who can feed the ball through to him and probably score goals. And yes, he is owned by 31% of the game, which is quite a lot, but if you compare it to Ronaldo, who's owned by 45, and Salah, who's owned by 55, it does look quite a lot less. And he's about £1 million cheaper as well, so you're saving money too. So it all looks pretty good there to bring Romelu Lukaku into your team. But the problem that you may have is you might not have the funds to stretch that 11.5 million. And you may need to downgrade another striker before you bring in Romelu Lukaku. That's why I have got another player on the list. And that player goes by the name of Adam Armstrong. So Adam Armstrong plays for Southampton. And yes, I do know Southampton are not one of the best teams in the league. They're far from it. But they are a good outfit when they play good quality football. And they can move the ball around quite well. And they can score goals. And yes, this season, Adam Armstrong has only managed to get himself 1 goal. But he has managed to get himself an assist as well. So 1 goal, 1 assist in 5 games isn't awful for a Southampton striker. And also, he's owned by 3% of the game. So he's really lowly owned. So if he does, or if he gets you a big haul, it's going to look quite good because only 3% of the game have got him. And he only costs 6 million. And that is one of the big pull factors as well. He's so cheap. He's what, £5 million cheaper than Romelu Lukaku. That if you downgraded like a Danny Ings or a Patrick Bamford to Adam Armstrong, you've saved yourself 2 million right there. But I wouldn't downgrade Patrick Bamford because he does have a really good set of fixtures, but he could be injured, which means you might have to downgrade him to like an Adam Armstrong or something. And yeah, there's no point talking about Adam Armstrong without telling you how good his fixtures are. So Adam Armstrong's next set of fixtures, let's just say this, he plays Wolves, so that's a really nice fixture right there. And then he plays Chelsea, so that's not a nice fixture. But after that, he plays Leeds, who are a really attacking team. Leeds gaps in behind. Burnley, who they are a decent team, but they can be got at. Watford, a newly promoted side, not the best side in the league, are they? Aston Villa, who they've had a steady start to the season, but you can still get at. I know they have a solid defence, but Southampton can still score goals against them. And then Norwich, a team who everyone seems to bully at the moment in the Premier League. But who knows? Norwich might pull one on them. But yeah, Southampton have got a beautiful set of fixtures for the next, 7-8 game weeks. And that's why I think you should bring Adam Armstrong in. I have waffled a bit about Adam Armstrong, but because he's only owned by 3% of the game, you would expect him to get 2 or 3 goals in those next several games. And even if he was a bench player, it'd be nice for him to come on for, say, I don't know, a rotated one in your main squad. What I mean a rotated one in your main squad, I mean someone who's played in your main squad. Well, no, sorry. Someone who you have put in your main squad to start, but they haven't started in real life, so they've been rotated out for Adam Armstrong. See, you know what I'm trying to say? Adam Armstrong looks like a good option. And now we move on to Adam Armstrong's teammate. This lad has come onto the scene this season absolutely tremendously. You didn't expect that at the start of the season, to see this man in the limelight all across the media, and that man is Livramento. So Livramento only is 4.2 million, but it's already a must-have in a way, because even though you may not play him, you may not think he's got the best fixtures or whatever, well, Southampton have got really good fixtures, he only costs 4.2 million, and you can stick him on your bench, whether it be second or third, but it's always good to have players who can come off your bench if one of your players in your first team doesn't start. And at 4.2 million, you can't get much cheaper for a playing defender in this game. And he is only owned by 10.4% as well. Yes, he's not owned by 3% like Adam Armstrong, but 10.4% for a player who's arguably been Southampton's best player this season and only costs 4.2 million does look really good there. And then obviously they play Wolves, they play Burnley, they play Watford, they play Norwich in the next 7-8 games. They are games where Southampton can get clean sheets in. And I know Southampton, they're not the best team in the world. I've said this before, but they aren't a bad side. I think they're better than the majority of the sides they're playing. They do play good football. They do keep clean sheets now and then. And they do score goals. And Livramento could play a pivotal role in that. And already this season, if you look, he played really well against Man City. I watched some of the highlights. He looked really good. They've kept clean sheets against West Ham. And he's had an overall solid start to the season. So that's why I think Livramento and Adam Armstrong are 2 really good options from Southampton. And also, they are budget enablers. So if you bring them in, you have more money to bring the more higher profile players and more expensive players into your team. So this week, I have chosen Guaita in between the sticks over Sarr, because listen to this. Last weekend, Guaita played at Anfield and lost 3-0, but still got 3 points. Sarr played at home against Brentford and got 0. So if Sarr's playing at home against Brentford and getting 0, and Guaita's going to Anfield and getting 3 points, I'm going to pick Guaita. And also, it's a change, because I've got Semedo in my defence. He's a Wolves defender, so if he gets the clean sheet points, he gets the clean sheet points. I'm not missing out completely. And obviously, I don't have any Palace defenders. And although Brighton are a very solid defensive team, they don't score too many goals. So that's literally why I've chosen Guaita this week. Now, the first player in the back line is Lewis Dunk. I'm not leaving him out at all unless he plays one of the best teams in the league. I've got a solid bench because he is outstanding. Brighton are outstanding at the moment. They're third in the league, I want to say. Picked up so many points, kept clean sheets, and Lewis Dunk has played a pivotal part in that. He is a solid defender, and that's why he's in my team. And he's playing Crystal Palace this week, who haven't played bad. They played all right against Liverpool, and obviously they beat unbeaten Tottenham 3-0, but Brighton do have the capabilities to stop Palace from scoring. And now the next player I've chosen is Ruben Diaz. So Ruben Diaz was a tricky one this week. I was thinking Ruben Diaz or Castagne. The reasons I went for Ruben Diaz over Castagne was he's a definite starter. Castagne could be rotated with the likes of Ricardo Pereira, etc. at Leicester. And so what's the point of playing the player who might only get a 20-minute cameo? There's no point. I'd rather play Diaz, who's going to probably get a full 90 minutes if he stays fit. And obviously, he could offer an attacking threat. He doesn't really score goals, but he could. And obviously as well, Man City have a solid defence that could keep the Chelsea attack on. But obviously Man City aren't in a great state at the moment, so Chelsea could profit and punish Man City. But yeah, I'm starting Diaz this week. So the next player in my team is Semedo. So Semedo plays Southampton this week. And like I've said, Southampton are a good team and they can score goals, but Wolves can also stop them from scoring. And Semedo offers an attacking threat, so I thought I'll put him in my team. And now moving on to the midfield, the first midfielder that I'm going to pick, well, the first midfielder in my team is Ben Rama. And I'm not making this mistake again. Last weekend, Ben Rama got 10 points. And where was he in my team? He was third bench. Third bench, and he got 10 points. I was fuming. I was absolutely fuming. Who thought he would score against Man United when he hadn't scored for games and he hasn't played very well? No, he just goes and scores. And yeah, he was third on my bench. But this week, I'm not making that mistake. He might not score, but I'm not making the mistake of putting him on my bench. I'm putting him straight in my first 11 against Leeds, who are a very attacking team, and West Ham can exploit that. And the next player that I'm picking in my midfield is Mo Salah. So Mo Salah has been outstanding this season, and although Brentford are a good team, they can concede goals here and there. Their defence isn't as strong as their attack, and Salah has been really good. Has been on really good form this season. So I've given him the captain's armband, and hopefully he can get me some points, like he did against Palace. And then the next player on the list, well, the next player on my team, we need to just stay on the list, is Rafinha. So Rafinha and Bamford are both in my team, but they may obviously not play because they did pick up injuries against Newcastle. Rafinha and Bamford were both substituted. Well, I don't know if Bamford was, but Rafinha was because of their injuries. And Bielsa came out and said something today. He didn't really talk too much about Bamford, and it was quite vague what he said about Rafinha as well. So they may start, they may not, but against West Ham are a good team. They do have a good attack there. Their defence is a little bit leaky, so I really want Rafinha and Bamford to play. But if they're not playing, obviously they'll come off and my bench players will come on because that's why I've got a decent squad. Well, when I say decent squad, I've got a squad who've got loads of players who are playing consistently, week in, week out, most of the time. But yeah, that's why I've chosen Rafinha and Bamford in my team. And then the next player is Jota. So Jota is an interesting one. He didn't have a great game against Palace on the weekend, but he did have a good game against Leeds the week before. He played right in the Champions League, but yeah, no goals to show for it. And if he plays against Norwich tonight, I don't know whether I will play him this weekend. But at the same time, you can't bench Jota. He's probably going to start. Firmino is still injured and probably won't be available for the weekend against Brentford. So unless Minamino or Origi start, I think Jota will start on the weekend. So I'm going to keep him in my team and hopefully he can score a goal or get an assist against Brentford. And now the next player on my list hasn't really impressed me so far. I don't think he's scored for me in my FPL team, and that is Ferran Torres. We all know he's a quality player. When he plays in that striker role, he does create chances. He can score goals, but he hasn't done it recently. But I'm not leaving him out because, well, let's be real. He may not even start against Chelsea. He may come on for a 20-minute cameo, but City are a good side. Although they haven't been in the best of form, they are a good side. And Torres can get goals. And I'm not going to bench someone who's playing in the striker role, even if it is against a quality team like Chelsea. And now moving on to the forward line, we've talked a bit about Bamford. You already know what are my reasons for playing him. But the other man is Raul Jimenez, and he has yet to score a goal this season. He has yet to provide an assist, but he is coming back from a long-term injury. You've got to cut him some slack, and hopefully he will become good soon and maybe score against Southampton this weekend. So that is my team right there, and the players that I'm going to field for the upcoming game week, but obviously it may change. So that is not my final team. But as it stands, I am relatively happy with it, and I'm saving my transfers because I'm planning something relatively big next week or the week after. And yes, I did just talk about my team selection, but I almost had a change in thought. I'm thinking whether to put Ings or Ferran Torres in. Ings, Ferran Torres, Ings, Ferran Torres, Ings, Ferran Torres. I'm still not sure, so that's why I told you it may change. But I think I might stick with Ferran Torres. But if I do go for Danny Ings, don't blame me because, you know, I said it would change, possibly. Also, guys, if you need a hand with your wildcard team, when to use your wildcard, what players to bring in, what players to take out, drop me a DM or an Instagram. I'll be sure to give you a hand with your team. And you may say, why not do it on YouTube comments? Well, you can't send me a photo on YouTube comments, you see? So I'm thinking differently there. Although, you may want to do it on YouTube comments because you don't have Instagram. And if you have Twitter, you may say, what's your Twitter? Well, I do have a Twitter, but I do not use Twitter because I get annoyed about the people on Instagram. I can't even think how annoyed I would get with people on Twitter. Also, the whole tweeting and all that stuff doesn't really make too much sense to me. I sound like an old man here. I sound like someone who doesn't even use social media. But yeah, I don't use Twitter. And if you want a hand with your wildcard, just drop me a DM on Instagram. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching the video. You know what to do. put in the comment section if you have any questions to do with your Fantasy Premier League team. I'll be sure to answer them. And if you have any questions about anything else to do with football or whatever, just put them in the comment section and have a little chat with you guys. And remember, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.